All right, so today we're again trying to cover all the topics for the second half of the weeks that we've been working on. Right, we've been doing work for 9 weeks, so the last 4 weeks we've been doing these types of problems. So we're going to cover these now. These are going to be a little bit harder than the other ones that we've done from yesterday. Okay, and like I said, we are moving at a decent pace. So if you're kind of writing stuff out and you're kind of seeing that you're too busy writing, not enough time paying attention, I would recommend you stop writing. Just focus on what's being done. These notes will be sent to you guys later anyway. The video will be there for you anyway, so you can always rewatch and do stuff like that. So, all right. So here we go. Number one, they want you to graph y is greater than 2/3 x minus 3. Remember, this is midterm B. This is for Thursday. So today's notes you should rewrite for Thursday's midterm. Okay. Yesterday's notes are for tomorrow's midterm. Okay. So anyway, we're graphing this. Now remember, you graph this just like you do any normal other function. If you look at your main function here, y greater than 2/3 x minus 3, you should be able to notice that your slope is 2/3 and your y-intercept is -3. Okay, that comes from here. That's the 2/3, and the minus 3 is right there. Okay. So all you have to do is put those values on your graph. Remember, you begin at -3, right? So B for begin. I'm going to put the -3 right there on the y-axis, because remember, that's called the y-intercept. And then after you do that, your slope is 2/3. Since it's positive, you're going to go up and then to the right. So you're going up twice, 3 times over. That's right here. Once you do that, then you have to ask yourself, since this is an inequality, not an equation, is this line supposed to be solid or dashed, right? And since it says greater than, what is it? Is it a solid or a dashed line? Dash. This is dashed, right? Remember, if you don't remember that, that's a little note you should write on your piece of paper so that you don't mess it up on test day. And then should you shade above or below? Above, because it says greater, right? Greater than or equal to is above, less than or equal to is below. So I'm going to kind of do it a little bit on the messy side just because, like I said, we are pressed for time. So I'll just try to do it quickly. But this is basically what you guys have to do. Now, on your quizzes...
Question, because from my last quiz, we're supposed to shade it off? Or?
Yeah, you should be shading all of the graph above or below it. Yeah, not just like a little tiny piece, but all of it. And I mean, if you did it like that, if you just did like a little bit above, I didn't mark you. I don't think I marked you wrong. I think I would have probably just told you like color it all in. But yeah, you got to try to shade all of it above that line. So, all right. Any questions on that one? All right. Now, this is something that's not hard to do, and I'm going to kind of give you the information. So here it is. This is your vertex. The vertex is h, comma, k. Okay, now what is h, comma, k? Well, remember our formula is f of x equals to a, absolute value of x minus h, plus k. That's our main formula. Now look at that compared to the problem they gave us. What's my h value? It's going to be, well, it says 1, right? But remember, h is always the opposite, so it's really not 1, but -1. And k is what? Well, k is on, look, right here, on the outside, right? So k is right there, so it's going to be -4. And that's your answer right here. You don't have to do anything other than just list the h and the k as a point. Okay? So, and remember the h, it always tells you the opposite value. So this one says +1, so it's really -1. If it were to say -5, it's really +5. Okay? The k value always tells you the true value. So right here it says -4, so it's really a -4. Okay? If the k value on the outside was a +7, then it's really a +7. Okay? But whatever the h says, it's the opposite. Okay? So don't trust the h. The h is always opposite of what you see. And that's it. That's all you got to do for vertex. Okay? So question number 3, describe the movements for this. So this is where you're supposed to tell them, according to H, it moves this way, left or right. According to K, it moves this way, up and down. So what kind of movement does it have left or right? Does it have any movement left or right? How many times does it move left or right? All right, so it's going to move 3 units, you said, to the what? To the, and actually it's left. Remember, the H is lying to you all the time, right? So if it says plus, you feel like you should be going to the right, but in reality, it's a minus. So you should be going to the left. Okay? And remember, look at your notes, because if we go back, and I forgot what section it was right now, but if we go back and look at the notes, I tell you, if the H looks positive, so if it looks positive, go left. If it looks negative, go right. Okay, so remember, write those things down on your notes so that you don't forget. Now, up and down, does this move up and down? Yeah, how many times? So 2 units down, right? And that's it. That's all you have to write for this problem. So notice, a lot of these problems are more like just checking. Do you know where to find your HK? Do you know what it moves like, right? Up, down, left, right. Like, what is it doing? Can you graph it? Okay? Look at question number 4. It says, write an absolute value function that opens down, moves 3 units left, and 2 units down. So let me just remind you, this is what it's supposed to look like. All right, so plus K here. All right. Now, remember, the A value, I've told you this before, and even in some of the quizzes, I've mentioned it for you guys. If they don't tell you the amplitude, the A value, then what do we assume it is? It's a 1. Now, they did say it opens down, so what happens with A? Is it positive or negative? Negative. So you're going to say, okay, f of x equals -1. So I'm just going to, that's not the 1, that's the absolute value, okay? X, all right, now it says 3 units to the left. So should I put +3 or -3? +3. Remember, it's always opposite of what you want it to be, right? Left and right is always opposite of, if it says left, you put plus. If it says right, you put minus, right? It's opposite. Now, 2 units down, what should I put? -2, and that's it. All right? So notice a lot of these problems so far haven't been terribly difficult. It's just you have to have knowledge of where to find stuff and what it does.
We're not gonna have a graph.
There are some graphs, yeah, but not with absolute values. At least not that I saw. All right, this one. This was a function operation section, okay, where they want you to add or subtract or multiply them, okay. So this one right here, they want us to subtract f of x minus g of x. Now remember, f minus g of x is the same as saying f of x minus g of x. So I'm just going to write them down. F of x is 2x minus 3 minus g of x is -4x plus 5. Now my job is to distribute that negative into the second parenthesis. So 2x minus 3 plus 4x minus 5, and then just simplify. So 2x plus 4x, that's 6x. -3 minus 5 is -8. Remember, these are like terms. That's why I added them together right here. And these are also like terms. So I added these together as well. And remember, you cannot add 6 minus 8 if one has a letter and the other one doesn't, right? So just leave it alone the way it is. But that's going to be your answer. Okay? So that's f minus g of x. Any questions on that one? All right, the next one is a multiplication, then we move on from these. So they want us to multiply f of x times g of x. So f of x times g of x is the same as x minus 3 times 2x plus 1. At this point, you just FOIL or distribute whatever you learned it as. So let's start off with that first term here. So we get x times 2x, that's going to be 2x squared, and x times 1, that's a positive x. And then we're going to do the negative 3. All right, so negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Now your middle terms are like terms, okay? These are like terms right here. So x minus 6x, that becomes a minus 5x. So 2x squared minus 5x minus 3, and that's your answer for that problem. Remember, guys, we're not doing all 20 problems. We're doing actually 12, okay? So we're halfway there. So we are doing 12 problems overall. There might be different options for that. Thank you. So yeah, some of the questions aren't being mentioned because they're just repeats, okay? Number 7, given f of t equal to negative 3t squared plus 1, find f of 2. Now, a lot of you guys did bad on these, and it's kind of sad that you did because these are supposed to be easy, okay? But a lot of people had trouble plugging numbers in. All you're doing, guys, is getting this number and plugging it in right there, okay? You're getting the 2 and you're putting it in where the t is, okay? So f of 2 is negative 3 times 2 squared plus 1. And only work on the right side. Don't do anything on the left. The left is f with 2 plugged in. That's what it means. F with 2 plugged in. Not f times 2. That's not a multiplication. That's f of 2. Okay, so you don't do anything with the left side. The right side, you just leave it alone. You're going to work on that. The left side, leave it alone. So negative 3 times 4 plus 1. That's negative 12 plus 1, which is negative 11. I saw a lot of people doing some weird stuff on the test, like putting in 2 and multiplying f of x times, or f of t times 2 in the front, like they were doing this stuff. And like I was like, why are they plugging that in front? Like there's no value there. Like I didn't understand what some people were doing. So remember, you're plugging in your value into your variable in the equation, and then you're just solving for that equation, okay, on the right side. That's all. Okay, a lot of people did great on it, but it was either you knew it or you really had no idea what to do. There was no like in between for people. So I just want to make sure I cover that because that's going to be a question for you guys. There's going to be 2 questions like this. One is going to say find the domain. One is going to say find the range. So it's one or the other. It is multiple choice. So let's write domain here and range. Now I noticed on the graphs that you have on your midterm, none of them are going towards infinity. They don't have lines going on forever. So in other words, none of these should say infinity on. Okay? So my domain asks how far left and how far right am I going? So how far left am I? Negative 2. How far right am I? Positive 4. Positive 4, right? From here to here, okay? From here to here, left to right. No infinity because there's no arrowhead, right? The arrowheads is what creates the infinity, right? So should I include negative 2? No, because there's an open circle. Should I include 4? Yes, so that's a closed one, okay? So there you go. There's your domain. Range is how low to how high. So what's the lowest value you see for y? Negative 2. What's the highest value? 4. Should I include negative 2? Yeah, remember, we're going bottom up, right? Don't look at the negative 2 over there. But yeah, I should include that. And then for the 4, should I or should I not? Yeah, I should. Yeah, because notice it's a solid dot, right? So we should include that one. So there's your domain and your range, okay? Like I said, from what I saw, and they're not going to change it, not now, all your domain and ranges do not have arrowheads on them, so that means that the graph doesn't go on forever. So there should be no infinities. I can't promise you 100% certainty, but usually they won't change the test the day before. but I'm not in charge of that test, so we'll see. But this is why I gave you one that doesn't have infinities on it, so that you can kind of see it that way. Are we okay with this? So remember, your domain is how far left to how far right. Ignore the height. Who cares about the height? We're just going left to right, right? -2 to 4. And then your range is how low to how high. This is the highest point, so you're going to list the y value for this point. This is the lowest point, so you list the y value for that point. Okay? So domain and range. Domain is left to right, range is bottom up. Okay? And in that order, okay? Left to right, small number to big number all the time. Okay? All right, finding the inverse. This is those problems that require 5 steps. Just so you know, we still have 25 minutes, so we're doing good on time, okay? Granted, some of the last problems take a little bit, but this is the one with the 5 steps. Step number 1 is you're supposed to rewrite your function, so that's what I'm going to do right now, right? I'm just rewriting my problem. And then step 2, you were saying change it to y, good, -2x plus 3. What's step 3? Switch the letters, right? X equals -2y plus 3. Step 4, solve for y. This is the longer step, right? So let's solve for y. So we're going to subtract 3. I get x minus 3 is equal to -2y. And then, yeah, divide. Now, I don't know how they're going to write their answer. Let me do it 2 ways. I'm going to do it 2 ways. So either the answer is going to look like this. In other words, you divided everything by -2. Okay, so the answer could either look like this, or they may break it apart. So they might, actually, wait, I should write the step 5, f inverse of x, right? Or they might write it like this, -half x plus 3/2 equals to f inverse of x. So they might split it apart. Okay, they just divided each term by -2. Okay, so they might leave it as a big fraction, which would be nice because that's usually easier. Or they might split them up into 2 pieces, which is okay, but you just got to be careful, especially if you're dividing by a negative. You got to transfer that through. But yeah, step 5 is to write your y back into an inverse function. Okay? So that's the 5-step problem. Okay, rewrite your function, change your f of x to a y, change your y to x and x to y, solve for y, and then rewrite your y as f inverse of x. So 5 steps. Again, if you don't remember those, look them up in your notes or just listen to this video again. It'll be repeated. And just write them down. Okay, but it does take 5 steps. All right, so 10, here's number 10. Right now we'll get back to it. Here's 11, so notice 2 solving of systems. And then 12 is, I'm going to tell you guys, don't even bother drawing this, just pay attention, okay? Because this is what you're going to see some of these look like on your test. And you're going to have to observe in order to solve. So we'll get to that. But number 10, I think they specifically tell you on the question that looks like this to use substitution to solve, okay? So they're literally telling you, and I know I didn't, but I'm just telling you, I think on the test I saw the instructions that says, use substitution to solve the following. And they give you that. Okay, so let me rewrite it. Y equals to 3x plus 6, and y equals to -2x plus 4. All right? Substitution means you're going to solve one equation for y or for x, which if you notice, they're both solved for y. And then you substitute your value to the other side. So notice, this one has a 3x plus 6 that's already solved for y. That means that I can plug this right there where the other y is. Because if y is equal to 3x plus 6, that means I can replace the y on the right side with 3x plus 6. Because that's what y is. That's what the left side's telling me. Y is 3x plus 6. So 3x plus 6 is equal to -2x plus 4. And now I just got to start solving this. Okay? So let me add 2x to both sides. That's 5x plus 6 equals 4. Okay, and then I'll subtract 6 on both sides. So that's 5x equal to negative 2. And then if we divide both sides by by 5, I get negative 2/5. And remember I told you when you make problems up, sometimes you get fractions. So here's an example of a fraction. Now what I have to do is plug that into my other problem, okay? The one that I left before, so I'm bringing it back up. So y is equal to 3 times negative 2/5 plus 6. Thank goodness you guys have calculators. This will be negative 6 over 5 plus 6. That's 30, so it'd be 24 over 5. So y would be 24 over 5. Again, you're going to have a calculator, so you can have the calculator do this for you, so don't freak out, okay? Now, I don't think the ones on the test are going to come out this weird with answers. At least I don't think so. They usually don't try to make it difficult with numbers. That way you worry about the process, not the solutions. But anyway, your solution's supposed to look like this. Supposed to be a point. Okay? So there you go. Main idea being, substitute into the other equation, solve for x or y, whatever you're substituting for, plug it back in so you can solve for the other letter, and then write your answer as a point, okay? That's what you're looking at. So you're writing your answer as a point. Any questions on that one? Because we got an elimination one coming up. We still got over 15 minutes, so we're doing okay. All right, so 2 more to go. This one, elimination. Okay, they don't want you to do substitution. You could if you want to. If you wanted to, you could solve the top equation for x, since it's pretty easy to do, and then substitute. Yeah, but we're gonna have to multiply. Which one, the top or the bottom one? The top by what? By 2. So here we go. Let's multiply the top by 2. Okay, so we get 2x plus 6y equals 12, and then the bottom one is 2x minus 4y equals 10. We're going to end up with another fraction again, but that's okay. In order to solve, what should I do? Add or subtract? Subtract. Okay, so let's subtract. 2x minus 2x is 0. 6y minus a negative 4y, that's a 10y. And 12 minus 10 is 2. If I divide both sides by 10, I get 1/5. Okay? So there's one answer. I don't think you are, but it doesn't hurt to just know that it can happen. Right? I really don't think you are. Usually they try to get the numbers to work nicely so that when you're solving, you get nice integers. But I mean, if it happens, remember, you have a calculator, so don't freak out. Just use your calculator to do the work, right? So don't get scared. It's all right. Now, I got to plug in my y value into one of those two equations, the top or the bottom, the ones in black. So since the one in black looks easier, let me plug it into that one. So x plus 3 times y is 1/5. I mean, right now I'm the one doing the work, so you don't have to really worry about it. But we got x plus 3/5 equal to 6. If I subtract 3/5 from both sides, let's see, that would be 30 over 5, so that's 27 over 5. There's your xy, so all you got to do is write your answer. 27 over 5, comma, 1 over 5, and we're done. Okay? So we got one more problem, and it's all based on pictures. But the part B of that problem is a little, I don't want to say it's tough, but it does kind of test to see if you understand how to write an equation by looking at a picture. Okay? Any questions on this one? Again, there may be fractions in your answers, there may not be. That I did not check. I didn't check the solutions of the problem. I was just looking at what types of problems they were giving you. I didn't even pay attention to whether or not there were fractions in there or not. But like I said, it shouldn't be a problem. If I were saying no calculator at all, then it would be an issue because some of you guys are like, well, maybe I'm not good at fractions, so that's not a good thing, right? But since you do have a calculator that you can borrow from me at the least, then you should be okay, all right? All right, so last one. Now this is the one I told you I recommend you maybe don't draw because it's going to take you a really long time, okay? So let's just kind of get into this. Part A, they say, is 2, -1 a solution to this graph? So let me show you where 2, -1 is. Right there. This is 2, -1. Is that a solution to that graph? No. Where are my answers located? In the green area, because what I did is I shaded the yellow and the blue together, right? And then when you shade yellow and blue, when they cross each other, at least in my pictures, they become green, right? So that's what I showed you guys when I taught this to you guys, that yellow and blue become green. So the green is where all my solutions are, okay? The yellow are the solutions to the red graph, and the blue is the solutions to the blue graph. If you can't see them, like, there they are, right? The red and the blue lines. But the green is where they both kind of share answers. So that's where all our solutions are, where they're sharing. Okay? So right here for part A, is that a solution? I'm going to write no. If they wanted a solution, you can put like -1, -2. You can try -2, -4. Those are all answers inside the green area. So those would be fine. Okay? But anything in the yellow, the blue, or the white are not solutions to everything. Only the stuff in the green. I don't, since I made a copy, I don't remember if the graphs that you guys are going to see are in grayscale, meaning like light gray, but then where they both cross, it's really dark gray. Or they might be purple and pink and blue, which becomes purple. I think sometimes that's the colors they use. So just look to see where they cross each other. But part B is the hardest part, I would say, for this problem. It says, what inequalities are represented here? In other words, can you write the equations? Okay, can you write the equations to this thing? So let's try the red one. Okay, I'm going to put a little red dot right here. And I'm going to say y. Okay, I'm going to start with that. Now look at the red line. You notice it's dashed. So that means it's either going to be greater than or less than. Okay, one or the other. Oh, I thought you had a question. Sorry. I saw you kind of go like this. I thought maybe you moved it. So, sorry. So it's either going to be greater than or less than. So look at the shading. Is it above or below the red line? Below. So what is that? Less or greater? What do you guys think? It's a less. It's below, right? So less. Okay. Now, I need my mx plus b. Okay, I know there's going to be a slope, then there's going to be an x, and then there's going to be a b. Where does this graph cross the y-axis? At 1, right? So I'm going to put +1. What is the slope of this graph? So now is where you kind of say, okay, let me pick some points. There's a point here, there's a point there. 1/1, good. So my slope would be 1/1 or just 1. So that's actually my equation, x plus 1. That's one of them right there. It is 1/1, but remember, they don't like to write 1s in front of the x's if they don't need to. So that's the red one. All right. What about the blue one? So I'm going to start with y again. So is that, notice it's a solid line, right? So, well, you're giving me where, okay, hold on. He gave me an answer of where it's starting. So let me put it there. Since it's a solid line, is it going to be less than or a less than or equal to, greater than or greater than or equal to? Which one is it going to be? Greater than or equal to, you're half right. Less than or equal to, yes, because it's below the line. The shaded region is below the line, so it's going to be that. Okay, since the line is solid, it's a or equal to inequality, right? And since it's below the line, then we got to go less. If it was above, then you would go greater than, okay? All right, we need an x here, so there we go. And now you got to pick some points. So let me pick some points here. We'll go with this point right here and this point right there. What is my slope? -2/1, or just, instead of the over 1, we could write just -2, right? So -2. And here are your answers for that problem. Okay, and this is what you guys have for Thursday's quiz.